Good morning and welcome to the Sunday celebrations here for the Centers of Spiritual Living Denver. We are a loving and prospering community here in the heart of Capitol Hill and online. We know that with everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. Here at CSL Denver, we want you to know that we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for prayer work with you. Our names and phone numbers are on the website at www.csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, please email it to info@csldenver.org. Reverend Elzia, along with all of our guest speakers, all of our practitioners, our music and service coordinators, want you to know how truly grateful we are for your online support. Thank you for watching our Sunday services, attending our online workshops and events, and providing financial support so that we can keep our virtual doors open. We love you all and know we'll be seeing you in person in the right and perfect time. And now, we'll continue to meet online until further notice. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Please go to www.csldenver.org and sign up for our newsletters. We only send out one per week. Or send an email to info@csldenver.org and request to be put on our mailing list. This week we are having our usual Zoom fellowship right after service. If you haven't already received an email this morning, please send an email to info@csldenver.org to request a Zoom invitation. Please join us. We would love to say hi and catch up with you. That's it for the announcements this Sunday. Again, thank you for tuning in, and now back to our service.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning. I'm Bill Carlton, a practitioner at CSL Denver Church. I invite you to close your eyes, take in a deep breath, and release all the negative emotions, and just be present in this beautiful world. We feel that oneness of God surrounding all of us involved in this service and those who are watching. Allow us to be in gratitude for our power of love in the spiritual practices all around us. I acknowledge and give thanks to all that has brought us here in this moment. I release these words to the universe, knowing they return to us tenfold. And so it is. A quote by Albert Einstein: "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, the other is as though everything is a miracle." Another quote is all that we have explored allows the wisdom of your heart to become the guiding force in your life. The words that describe a heart focused life are allowing, spaciousness, curiosity, playfulness, spontaneity, and trust. This is from What's in the Way is the Way by Mary O'Malley, page 227. Another quote: we must consciously know that we can use creative power. The more complete such acceptance is on our part, the more completely we shall be able to use this power for definitive purposes. Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind 401.3. And now, more music from Denise Rosier.
CSL Denver, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Denise Rosier, and I am so glad to be back with you again. Here's a song that I wrote that affirms everything that is awesome about us.
I love with the heart of God within me. I sing with the voice of God within me. I rest in the peace of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I know with the mind of God within me. I pray with the faith of God within me. I trust in the power of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I am a safe and loving place, born of beauty and amazing grace. I laugh with the joy of God within me. I shine with the light of God. within me. I am who I am 'cause of God within me. Everything, everything, praises God. Everything, everything, praises God. Everything, everything, praises God within me.
God within me, God within you. Are you resonating with those lyrics from the amazing Denise Rosier? It's true. It's true. And so just being blessed into that space of God within each of its creations, God within the technology, God within the video, God within us. We are here ready to courageously step forward into understanding spiritual principle and applying it in our lives. I want to thank Bill Carlton for that wonderful grounding and centering, and even the opening music. Surely the presence is right here in this space featuring Barry Ebert. So wonderful to be with you. Who am I? My name is Tracy Brown, and I am so happy to be hanging out with CSL Denver again. It just is so fabulous to be able to, no matter where we are in the world, to be connected to one another. And this whole idea this month of focusing on creativity, you've had, if you've been with us in previous sessions, if you've been together, you know this focus on creativity as just us living our lives. We are creative beings. We are creative. We have the creative power to influence what happens, to direct the flow of energy. And all month, I know I have been listening to the different talks and thinking about those topics and going, oh, creativity is not just like making visual art or performing on a stage or doing something, playing a musical instrument. Every one of us is being creative in how we utilize spiritual principle to create our individual lives that we love and contribute to creating a world that works for everyone. So all month long, the entire month of April, we've been looking at and thinking about and digging into and unpacking what does it really mean to be creative. And now, at the end of the month, we're ready to step into it. So this title, Courageously Stepping Forward, for me, as I've been thinking about it, it's like, oh, well, those are really three key elements. There is a requirement for there to be some courage in order for me to take responsibility for being creative in my life. I mean, I've got to really believe, I've got to have the courage to go a little bit further. I need to have the courage to look beyond whatever I've done before. And it's so easy to be comfortable. My life's okay. I don't really have anything major to complain about. Ooh, but if I start imagining what else is true or what else is possible, what might I want to do next? It takes courage to step into that. You know, Howard Thurman, the philosopher and leader that many of you are familiar with, Howard Thurman wrote, ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go do that, because the world needs more people who have come alive. So just take a breath. Ask yourself, what really makes me come alive? I love doing it, or I know I'm making a contribution. I want to learn that. It makes me come alive to learn something new or to go someplace I've never been before. Go do that. And even though it's very exciting, it takes courage. It takes courage to turn away from what you know and move to something new or different, even if you want it. So, courageously stepping forward, we start by having the courage to commit to come alive and to bring that aliveness into the world. Stepping forward. What does it mean to step forward, being guided from a spiritual perspective? A couple of days ago, I was thinking about that, like stepping into something new, stepping into creating something new. Like, what did it feel like when I was starting a new business or adding a new brand a few years ago, or a couple of years ago when I released a new book? It's like, oh, that was me creating something, not just the book, but creating a new idea or a new thought and encouraging people to talk about it. What was it like to step into that idea, that concept? And I'm not talking about just the human things of course, I had to sit down and write, but like to really own it, to really say, I'm creating something new for myself and the world. And this may be a little silly, but I bet there's at least one person out there who can relate to it. Do you remember when you were a kid, there was a game that many of us played, depending on where we grew up and what, decade that was. But many of us will remember the game where you would line up on a long line, and like a single file line across the playground or the park. And one person would be like, yards way up in front of everybody else. And if it was my turn, I mean, there are a lot of games that start like that, but here's the one that came to mind for me. I imagine myself being in that line of children, and it was my turn, and I would say, Mother, may I take 3 giant steps? And whoever was playing the character of Mother, who was at the other side of the yard or the field or the park, they would say, yes, take 3 giant steps. Or they would say, no, but you can take 1 baby step forward. Or they might say, you can take 3 giant steps to your right or backwards. And this whole game of Mother May I, the idea of asking and then determining what it means to step forward toward the goal of getting to that person who's playing the role of Mother May I, that it's very similar. I've created, if I'm playing the game, I've created an image in my own mind of seeing myself be the first person to get to the goal, to be able to tap the person who's playing the role of Mother And now I become in that lead role. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We decide when we are creating what's the next step forward. Is it a baby step because I need to learn some new things? Is it a big old giant step because I have everything I need to go to the next level? But realize and recognize this. It's rare that we create anything new and get there in one step. We don't typically create a new condition in our lives. We don't create a new belief simply by saying, I now believe that God is good. And I'm there, poof. That's all it takes. No, we have the belief and we build the belief. We look for confirmation of the belief. We get additional resources. Maybe we have a series of monthly sessions with the practitioner. We take 100 hours of courses over the course of time of a year or two, because we are creating step by step by step by step. Does this make any sense at all to you? If we're going to courageously step forward, then we have to understand that it is a series of steps and that every step counts. So we start off with our courage. When have you needed to be courageous about having something new or a new experience? And what are the steps that you took? Often what happens is we can easily understand this when there's been some tragedy or there's been some big problem in our lives. And we say, or we have a family member who is recovering from addiction. And we're like, we can see how courageous it is for them to turn away from addictive behavior, addictive substances. And it takes courage to change the pattern. And we watch them go to a meeting every day or a weekly meetup with a group of recovering addicts. And we're so proud of them for taking a step and another step and another step. It's not just that they are recovering from something bad or something that was harmful. I want you to turn that 180 degrees. They are creating something new. A life where addiction doesn't control them and they make the choices they need. They are creating a better version of themselves. But often we focus on what was not working and they're recovering from that. We do this in our lives all the time. But during this month where we are focusing on creativity and how we use that in our lives, we are doing that too with whatever we are moving toward. So no surprise that I would emphasize being courageous and taking it step by step. There is a book that I've been reading. It's the ABCs of Self-Care by Sherry Betts. And it is really powerful in reinforcing this idea of taking it step by step. It requires a lot of steps for us to move to a place where we are living our lives, where we are truly honoring the best and the most important parts of ourselves. And she does this great job of differentiating between pampering and self-care, because she really does help us see that we are caring for the capital S self, the spiritual self that is living a life through our human bodies, minds. And so it becomes self-care of, like Howard Thurman indicated, of finding out what makes you come alive and honoring that in not only the words you speak and the actions you take, but the goals you set and even what you say no to, and how to do that so that you can have the best human experience that is possible, that you get to define it and you get to lead yourself through whatever happens in our human experience to get there. And so she does this by the ABCs of self-care. She gives 26 examples. So, okay, I know some of you are really smart. You immediately made the connection. The ABCs of self-care, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. And so she gives us 26 tips or lessons of things we can do, of steps we can take in order to create our best life. So I can highly recommend that book, The ABCs of Self-Care by Sherry Betts, as a way to help me and you apply this idea of using spiritual law, choosing day by day, whether I take a baby step, a giant step, or sometimes a sideways step, and sometimes it looks to me in my humanness as a backward step. Oh no, we don't ever want to go backwards, do we? You know what? Backwards is a story I make up because if I understand spiritual law, I understand two things. One, I understand that every choice I make has a consequence and that it's going to happen, right? That's law. And number two, every choice I make is just another choice on my way to the goal. So sometimes we have to do things that in our human brain it just seems like it's not sequential. It seems like it's taking us backwards, but it's really just a detour around the construction zone leading us to the destination. It's a detour around the construction zone leading us to our destination. Last month, I was going to the skating rink. I roller skate a couple times a week. And about a month ago, I was on the way to the skating rink, and they had the highway shut down because they were doing some construction repairs at night. And we had to exit the highway. And we had to follow these signs through a neighborhood that I don't know. I've never gotten off the highway in that part of town. And the streets were dark and the signs were taking us all kinds of ways. And I was fussing about it. And I was frowning and I was fretting. And then I was thinking, I'm going to get lost. But I knew where I was going. I'm going to the skating rink. I know the address of the skating rink. I know what it looks like. I know that this is just a detour, that it's not going to keep me from getting there. I'm just not getting there the most direct route. So when we are creating our new lives, when we are applying our creativity, into the way or the path or the route or the journey toward the life we are creating, don't get distracted by what looks like a step backwards. Because actually, you're always going forward toward your goal. You are always expanding and expressing toward your goal. Last month, when I had to get routed off the highway and follow signs through territory I did not know, I got to the goal. I got to the skating rink. And at one point, I thought it was going to make me about 20 minutes late because I didn't know where I was going or where the detour was taking me. But I really only got there about 6 minutes later than I would have if I had not had the detour. 6 minutes is not that big of a deal. Think about people you know who set a big, audacious goal. Maybe it was getting their college degree. Maybe it was having a family, but they had to deal with infertility challenges. The delay did not mean denial. Ernest Holmes teaches us that and repeats that several times in the textbook. Delay is not denial. And he also reminds us that really there are no mistakes. And so as today, as we are thinking about courageously stepping forward, we have to remember that it is all part of our forward path. On page 612 in the textbook, under the definition of mistakes, Ernest Holmes reminds us we must declare that no mistakes have been made, none are being made, and none are going to be made. If mistakes are made, we must neutralize their effect by direct declaration that they no longer have power over us. And that's because the real power is in us keeping going toward a clear goal or vision. If we are doing that, and we are doing that from a place of courage and alignment with spiritual law, there is nothing that can block us from our destination. The path may just look different. And if you are like me, there are a lot of times where the path looked different from what you expected. But what seems like a detour, while you were over here doing something you didn't plan to do, or feeling like a failure, you got connected to someone who you needed to have in your life when you got to the destination, or you learned something new that allowed you to be effective once you got to that destination. So this week, notice where you are being courageous. Notice what steps are you taking to move toward being your best self, that person who is so alive in the world that not only do you love your life, but everybody else wants what you've got. And no matter what it looks like, how is it helping further you toward being that creative individual in the world? This is what I'm going to do this week. And I invite you to join me in courageously stepping forward into the best life you've ever had. So take a deep breath and let's just anchor that in spiritual mind treatment. Courageously stepping forward. Stepping forward is the true nature of God. It is always expressing itself and then expanding and then evolving life. It doesn't require courage because it is the natural flow of life for spirit. It is the nature of spirit to express and expand and then to evolve. And what I know is if that is the nature of God, then it is my true essential nature. And so there is something within me and with every person and within every person within the sound of my voice, that the true essential nature is one of expressing, expanding, and evolving. And right here and right now, I align that spiritual truth with the human experience. And so let my words be the truth for everyone within the sound of my voice. I know right here and right now that I am expressing, I am expanding, and I am evolving. And the spiritual part of me does that naturally. And I recognize that aligning the human part of me to that journey requires courage. The human experience and value of courage. And so I sign up, I raise my hand, I say yes to being courageous. I say yes to living my best life. I say yes that now is the time for me to courageously step forward and to fully come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. I am so grateful that I am willing to do it. I am excited about doing it, and I am so grateful that I have all the resources I need within me to take the next step. Breathing this in and smiling. I just release anything that's out of alignment with this truth. Gone, gone, gone. Only this truth now begins to expand and express in my life and in the life of all of creation. It can be no other way, because I know this is spiritual principle and this is spiritual law. So I relax. I let it be. I welcome it. I surrender into it. And we affirm this together by saying Aho, Ashe, Amen, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tracy. We are so grateful for you for joining us and sharing your wonderful words. And I am going to order that book on Amazon right after service. Thank you so much. And now it's time for our offertory. And we are so grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially during this time of change. Whether this is your first time joining us or you're a returning community participant, we want to thank you so much for your continuing financial support of the important work we are striving to provide, and for us to be able to be here every Sunday morning, loving you and sharing all that we know. So right now, there are several ways that you can make your financial contribution to Center for Spiritual Living Denver. This information is running along the bottom of the screen. Either text to give, or you can go to our website and hit the donate button, or you can write a check and send it to our P.O. box. However you choose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you haven't already done it and you shop at King Soopers and or Amazon, you can link your account to Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and we get a percentage of the proceeds. And for the first quarter of March, we got a little over $70 from each Amazon and King Soopers. So thank you if you've chosen to have us as your reward recipient. So please repeat with me our usual affirmation, hand on heart, your gift on your heart, however, whatever works for you. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. And we have just one announcement. We have our usual virtual fellowship on Zoom this morning, and we would love for you to come join us and let us know how you're doing. If you did not receive the Zoom invitation earlier this morning, please send an email to info@csldenver.org and mention fellowship, and we'll send you a Zoom invitation right away. Meanwhile, we hope you have a wonderful week and affirm right here and right now that 2022 is blessed and perfect in all that it is. It's getting better and better. We're able to get out more and more. We love you. We miss you. Please take care of yourselves. And let's close out with I Release and I Let Go from Reverend Michael Gott.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You gotta let it all
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.